Let Saturn do its job. When Saturn return visits your life. By Hortensia Calma. Because I want what's best for you, even if you don't know it yet. Sincerely, the Cosmos. Introduction. A gift from the cosmos. The universe wants to give you an upgrade, sadly many don't want it. You are restless most of the time. Your mind cannot catch a break. You feel overwhelmed even at night when you should rest. So, the time has come to get you back to the beginning. Saturn return is a gift from the cosmos to us. Many of us, though, don't see it as a gift, and many more reject said gift. Some of us don't get how can this experience be a gift, but it certainly is a blessing in disguise. Saturn return means that it's time to get in balance. It's time to get some stability in your life, if you want to move forward and get unstuck. The cosmos wants to be in balance, and you are part of it. Saturn return is a cosmic event in your life. It's time to reduce or completely eliminate the negative accumulation of the past. The cosmos has to be in balance, and you are part of the cosmos. Some people are unaware that they are going through a Saturn return, some do know something about it, but there's no denying among believer or non-believers that this is a time of much change. Saturn will teach you how to live a high-quality life, if you let its elimination force release all the excess and clutter. Saturn will teach you how to enjoy few high-quality materials, if you let routines eliminate all the many, excessive at times, low-quality materials. Restlessness and overwhelm. Everyone reaches the beginning of their Saturn return restless and overwhelmed. It's just how the universe works. Believe me, I know you think you are the only one who is experiencing an immense amount of hopelessness and frustration, but many, many humans all over the globe are undergoing right in this very moment, restlessness and overwhelm, especially those who are around 28 years old, 57 years old, and 88-year-olds. Everyone who starts their Saturn return has inevitably accumulated much. Their accumulation phase brought much excitement and adventurous feelings at first, but it inevitably transformed into chaos and things got out of control. It is the way of the cosmos after all. The cosmos knows, and it is time to start the counterpart that will bring balance and will get things in control back into your life. The elimination phase, Saturn return. Saturn return gets activated actually, believe it or not, by your nervous systems communicating to the cosmos that you are undergoing high levels of restlessness and overwhelm, the first stage of the elimination phase of the cosmos. Now it's time to let Saturn do its job. Let Saturn do its job to get rid of everything that hurts your heart. Let Saturn do its job so you can feel finally free from everything that is stagnating your life. Let Saturn do its job so you can try again, lighter and stronger next time. When you reach a breaking point emotionally, your vital force will connect to the cosmos to remove this which is causing you much unnecessary pain. Saturn is visiting your life, and Saturn says it's time to shed your previous weak skin and start anew. Mistakes happened in the past, it's okay. Let Saturn do its job so it can take you back to the beginning and try again. How does Saturn return work? When we're born, under the concept of astrology, the planets of our solar system and other stars are close to any of 12 constellations viewed from Earth's perspective. Example, when someone was born, the planet Venus was close to the constellation of Aries, so in astrology they are Venus in Aries. Also, when this person was born, the planet Saturn was close to the constellation of Taurus, therefore they are a Saturn in Taurus. Saturn is a very special planet in astrology and overall, in planetary occultism. While it takes Venus 225 days to go through all of the zodiac constellation signs, it takes Saturn 29.4 years to go through all of the zodiac constellations. So, the Saturn return is a very special event in astrology, because the planet Saturn will return and stay again at the same zodiac sign as when you were born only every 29.4 years. In our example, someone born Saturn in Taurus will have to be approximately 28 or 29 years old to have, in astrology, Saturn returning to Taurus again. Most people start their first Saturn return at 28, some at 29 and rare cases at 30, depending on whether you were born early or later during Saturn's transit during a specific sign. Anyway, this book will not teach how to calculate your Saturn return specifically, nor will it go deep into specific transits of Saturn through our solar system, nor the meaning of Saturn being in every sign of the zodiac specifically. There are better books out there about Saturn's transit through each sign, and redundancy is excess in the cosmos. Saturn hates excess, so let's not go there. If you are really curious about when exactly your Saturn return will start or in which sign, in case you don't know yet, you can visit an astrology website from any device with access to the internet and they will calculate your specific birth chart and planet returns for free. It's quite simple, and I don't want to waste your precious time, in case you already know when your Saturn return is. And chances are, if you are reading this book, you are either experiencing a Saturn return right now or are close. Whatever your situation, I congratulate you for taking the time to understand how our beautiful cosmos works. Believe me, most humans unfortunately don't care. Some don't believe in cosmic forces, and some others sadly ridicule astrology and constantly mock it to try to invalidate it. To each their own, I suppose. So what? What's so important about Saturn? Is this just gibberish zodiac nonsense? Oh dear, it certainly is not just bluff. Saturn return, it's a big deal, whether you believe in it or not. We do believe in the forces of the cosmos, because we are part of the cosmos and our soul can sense the unseen dimension although our material body cannot, yet. In this book it is not my intention to convince you or not, whether Saturn return is real or whether how it works has been proven by science yet or not. I unfortunately have no time for skeptics, I only have time for people who want to get out of the mess in which regrettably they have found themselves at. The time to end cycles. Have you ever heard the saying, when the stars align? Well, Saturn has aligned with the same sign it was at the time of your birth and it has returned. The timing is right, and the cosmos has entered you into a cosmic era of ending cycles. Embrace or reject it, the choice is ultimately yours. The timing for elimination is right, and now is not the time to try new things. The cosmos doesn't want you nor won't favor you at trying on new adventures. You have entered the end of a big cycle, a cosmic elimination phase, and you must align with Mother Nature, so you can try new things and new adventures in future cycles, further beyond this one. But for those adventures to begin, this cycle you're at right now has to end first. Saturn will end this cycle and the time is right. Everything that you want to let go of, the cosmos will favor you. Now is the cosmic time to eliminate for reduction, for peace, for mental and physical stability. Do not fear the end of cycles, all cycles must end for new, better, improved ones to begin. And to end this one, the cosmos has sent Saturn to take your hand along the way, so you don't have to do it alone. Saturn is a tough, but loyal friend. Will you be one who welcomes it or someone who rejects it? It's easier to let the North Node do its job than to let Saturn do its job. Why? Because letting the North Node do its job is fun and exciting, adventure awaits, motivation is overflowing our mind. While letting Saturn do its job is dreadful and hard work, decluttering awaits, and motivation may not show up at all. During an elimination phase, Saturn will set things into motion to reduce and get things under control through self-restraint. Saturn will set things into motion for you to unconsciously release and consciously detach to free your soul from everything that has been harming your body. We all like quick solutions to our problems, but that is not going to work with Saturn return. Saturn return has a process of first making us realize that something is harming us. Saturn has a strategy in which it will first make us realize that which will be eliminated, is being eliminated because it was harming us in the first place. This realization takes time. If Saturn eliminated by quick fix, without explaining why something was eliminated from our life, we would be upset at life for taking something from us and would do more than our normal effort to get it back after the end of Saturn return. The cosmos knows best, and a processed solution is necessary. Our understanding of situations that harm us is part of the process of Saturn return. There's no other way when it comes to Saturn. Chapter 1. Saturn's job. Saturn return is inevitable, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, whether you're ready for it or not, whether you whine about it or accept it. The first big elimination phase of your life has arrived in the form of Saturn return. You have accumulated plenty during the last 28 years and now it's time to release. Some people say that Saturn return is like a prophecy. When Saturn aligns again with your sign, your life will succumb in chaos. I think this is a very negative way to perceive and look at the whole process, because Saturn return is a process after all. There's a purpose, but for some it doesn't feel like it. People react very differently through their own experiences of Saturn return. Everyone has an opinion according of how well or bad they felt afterwards. There are people who feel hopeless, didn't eliminate nor consolidate during their Saturn return and therefore don't believe in Saturn return, but usually are very frustrated with life in general. There are people who feel the urge to let go of whatever the energy of Saturn is trying to eliminate from their lives, but for some reason they didn't nor like it, so they dread their next Saturn return. And then, there are people who after all the hardships and struggles, they managed to eliminate and consolidate as much as they could, and consequently their lives evolved. They start fresh and anew, and they are able to move forward in life. These people usually have a positive experience about Saturn return, although they will admit that it was hard to go through. During Saturn return you'll probably feel very sad and frustrated. There's a reason why people have a negative perspective of it, unfortunately. However, those who are able to understand what's meant to get done, and willingly take the time and effort to do it, will be rewarded with a sense of peace and emotional freedom by the end of their Saturn return. When you understand the why of situations, you are less likely to overreact. Easier said than done. What's the purpose of Saturn return? The purpose of your first Saturn return is to bring stability into what's left of your youth and consequently have a right foundation for midlife. During Saturn return you must either 1. Eliminate everything that is a baggage in your life, everything that at one point did but does not serve us anymore. Or 2. Consolidate, tie down and finally get done situations we've been putting off for too long. After eliminations and consolidations of situations have taken place, the promise and therefore purpose of Saturn return is to give much needed stability into the second part of your youth and to set the right foundation for later on in midlife. Consequently, after midlife you start your second Saturn return when you will have to do it all over again. You might not been thinking of getting old, or you might not feel old at all, and believe me, you're not old in the great scheme of things, but life is aware that if your health and safety continues, you will get old and you have to prepare accordingly. Only fools do not prepare for the inevitable. Eliminate and consolidate. During a Saturn return we must do hard necessary work for stability and progress in our lives. 1. Elimination. We must eliminate every situation that is no longer serving us any good in our lives, regardless of whether it did at some point. Their season is over. We're grateful for having this situation at a certain stage in our lives when we needed them, but their time is done and we must let go. Their season is over and we cannot hold on to them. Easier said than done. 2. Consolidation. We must consolidate or tie down situations that we knew we should have done, but that for any reason we delayed or postponed. These situations have been knocking at our door for years, but we ignored them, because we either thought we could do better or maybe we wanted to try our luck at something different. However, deep inside we knew different. Now the time has come, adulthood is calling and these situations must get done and consolidated. You took your time, you had your fun, but now it's time, it's now or never. Consolidation equals foundation, foundation equals stability. The purpose of your first Saturn return is to bring stability into what's left of your youth and to create the right foundation for your midlife. The consolidation energy of the cosmos is focused to make a situation stronger and sturdier. The cosmos wants to give you an upgrade. Will you let Saturn do its job? Easier said than done. Saturn return is hard work. Hard intentional work. Eliminating and consolidating situations is really hard. Much mental decision making has to take place and it can be traumatic for some people, hence the much dreading feeling around Saturn return. Some people refuse to eliminate situations that must be let go during Saturn return, because they have put a lot of work into making this situation work and they don't want to feel as if they wasted their time. The thing is, Saturn return will still set things into motion to eliminate this situation that is draining and stagnating your progress, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not. Saturn return does not care, whether you want to let go or not. Saturn return does not care, whether you believe in it or not. Saturn return will happen whether you want it or not. Saturn return will happen whether you believe in it or not. My Saturn return almost killed me. It was a change your life or die, anonymous. Many people have a wrong perception of Saturn return, because they are put into situations where the universe is telling you that this situation you are holding on to is slowly killing you or making you depressed. Some people love to feel sorry for themselves, and substances and addictions are quite comfortable for some. Saturn return does not tolerate addictions. They're one of the first situations it will push you to let go of. Just like children must get chores and little responsibilities like homework done to prepare them for young adulthood. Young adults must get the hard work of Saturn return to prepare them for an ideal established adulthood and into midlife. During Saturn return you will be exhorted by the cosmos to eliminate excess or a negative situation by the roots in certain areas of your life. Not everyone goes through all of them, but most people feel too many coincidences to let go in more than one area. The most common areas Saturn return likes to interfere are one-sided relationships, not well-established relationships, unnecessary emotional codependency, substance addiction, material codependency, rotten dreams, emotional baggage, hatred and despise for oneself. Chapter 2. Breakups and marriages. A lot of breakups happen during Saturn return, which would fall under the elimination category of task one must do. However, a lot of marriages also take place during Saturn return, which would fall under the category of consolidation of task one must do. So how come some people eliminate their relationships while others consolidate them? Well, of course is going to depend on the quality of partner the person experiencing Saturn return has. A partner that drains your energy, your mental health, your resources, and who overall is a taker without giving much if at all in return, will be a partner which Saturn return will set things in motion to leave behind. A partner that, even if not perfect, supports you emotionally, financially, and with whom you feel comfortable sharing each other's resources is someone with whom Saturn return will set things in motion to formalize a relationship with, aka a marriage. So, why do some people break up in relationships during Saturn return while others get married? Because Saturn return is a personal experience, not a communal event. Saturn return cares about what's best for you, regardless of what everyone else is doing. Not a love event. Saturn return is not a romance. Saturn return is the cosmic force of elimination to set balance in your life. If a partner you have is stealing your balance, Saturn will try to push you away from that person. If a current relationship can bring more balance in your life, Saturn will set things in motion so you can marry that person to bring stability into your life. Saturn return is not a love event. Saturn return is not an evil force pushing you away from the love of your life. Saturn return is not a helpless event that will put your love life upside down. Saturn return is a cosmic force that has the main goal of bringing balance and stability into what's left of your youth and to set a good foundation to build mid-adulthood. Love is irrelevant. If love is hindering your progress into your next phase of adulthood, the elimination force of Saturn will set things in motion to get you away from that person. Breakups and divorces. Marriages have expiration dates. Some marriages are there only for a couple of seasons in your life. Maybe that's why some people get married during their first Saturn return, but divorce during their second. It can feel very unfair or frustrating if you are emotionally codependent to that person. But emotional codependency can be dangerous if you bury your head in the sand and refuse to see red flags and problematic attitudes in a partner. You can fool yourself, be in denial, and assume that your relationship is at least okay. No need to end the relationship, but you cannot fool the cosmos. If you are in a dysfunctional relationship and if this is a relationship in which you are emotional codependent, your mind will play tricks on you into thinking that there is nothing merely wrong with it. But your immune and nervous system will know better. Your immune system, along with your intuition, are your best allies. Emotional codependency will deter your intuition from communicating with you, especially about red flags coming from your partner. But even emotional codependency cannot hinder your immune system from knowing that this relationship is causing you damage, slowly and consistently. Your immune system, who always communicates with your endocrine system, will know that this relationship is making you sick with stress, and excessive levels of cortisol and low melatonin will cause your immune system to know that you are being attacked, and your body will get prepared for it. Your immune system will connect to your nervous system to let you know that this entity is causing you internal damage through your hormones, therefore it must be eliminated from your life. Even if you are in denial about the bad situation of your relationship, your immune system will connect to your nervous system, and this will make you have anxiety, nervous attacks, or even sudden downs all of a sudden, especially when triggered by a selfish behavior coming from your partner. You can trick your mind all of you want about the deteriorated stage of your relationship, but your immune system will do what it was built to do, and will try to protect you from entities that can cause you harm, even if that entity is a person and is harming you emotionally. The truest form of help will always come from within. Your immune system and your intuition were developed in order to protect you, not to please others. You cannot expect sincerity from outside emotional support, that's always conditional or secretly deceivious. The truest helpers are inside your own body, your intuition and your immune system. Do not ignore your nervous system activating or getting out of control all of a sudden. It's your immune system trying to tell you that something is really wrong. Getting away from what is causing the nervous attack is the best decision. Completely eradicate it, get it out of your life. Stop giving it your time, attention, and energy. Distract yourself and remove everything associated with the trigger threat. Never follow your heart, it's in love with unrealistic expectations that inevitably lead to suffering and chaos. Follow your intuition, it can read danger in the environment. Follow your immune system, it will show signs that someone or something is sucking your energy and vital force. People are unfairly told that marriages should last forever, when in reality most marriages are only in a person's life for a season or a couple of decades. While more conservative thinking people want to believe that true love stands the test of time and that the longer a couple has been together, the more that couple loves each other, reality has taught us that people can suffer for years in abusive relationships while trying to keep the facade of a perfect marriage. Saturn does not care what society thinks is a perfect marriage. The cosmos wants you to be in balance, and if a marriage is hindering your balance and emotional stability, it will try to eliminate it from your life during Saturn return. How does Saturn decides that you need a breakup? Your vital force, which is the energy every living being has inside of us, will be out of balance if your immune system has found an entity that is harming you constantly, even emotionally, which heavily impacts your long-term health. When your vital force is out of balance, the force of elimination of the cosmos through Saturn return will set things in motion to get your body and life back into balance. Your vital force can communicate to the energies of the cosmos, even if your conscious mind is not aware of it, or even if you don't believe in it. Why should the cosmos energies set things in motion to alter your life? What does the universe has to do with your love life? Well, you, my dear, are part of the cosmos. It's a universal truth many people throughout time and through different cultures have found to be true. Everything within the universe is part of it, literally. At a macro level, we are part of the cosmos. The cosmos needs to be in balance. You, as a tiny part of the cosmos, follow unknowingly many of the cycles of balance the universe has followed for billions of years. All living things do, all species do, we are but one more species in this magnificent universe. The cosmos wants you to be in balance, because you are part of it. The moment your vital force, which is always connected to the energies of the cosmos, gets out of balance, especially if your immune system alerts that you are out of balance because of an entity threat, the cosmos will activate the elimination force, and through Saturn return, it will try to get rid of it for you. Why? Because it is in the best interest of the universe to make sure that you are in balance, because you are part of it. The cosmos wants to be in balance. Marriages. Stability is a compromise. Compromises have initiation dates. A lot of marriages happen during Saturn return, which would fall under the category of consolidation. While we mentioned before that marriages have expiration dates, how come Saturn return would make us go into one? Because there's a purpose for marriage. Some marriages are in your life for a season or two, and you, my dear, at the moment of having a Saturn return, are about to start a brand new season in your life, and maybe a marriage can bring stability, financial support, and legal advantages as you go into a new chapter of adulthood. Marriage is not always about love, and that's not wrong at all. Only fools believe that marriage is only about love. Marriage is about finding the best teammate to build a good support system for a good life. We don't eat out of love, we don't pay the bills with love, don't save for retirement with love. Love in adulthood is not enough. Sounds harsh, but it's a reality of society. Stability along with good self-esteem is crucial for a well-lived adult life, regardless of the chaotic stage of the world. Love in a marriage will not be enough to make the relationship stand the hardships of married life, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with saying that marriage is more than love. If you are a hardcore romanticist, perhaps this part of the book will make you feel uncomfortable, but remember what we mentioned earlier: Saturn return is not a love event. Saturn return is not about romance, it's about stability and balance. What if I don't want to get married again? Marriages have expiration dates, and that is fine. I'm not the person who goes along with society's standards, you probably noticed by now. Some people think it's wrong to say that marriage is temporal, and that love should last forever. Should is wishful thinking. Radical acceptance teaches us that divorce is as common as marriage and that a divorced person has no less value than a married person. People who are in a second marriage can be as happy and well established as people who have been in one single marriage for longer. It's not a competition. Saturn return is not a communal event, it's personal experience. Regardless of whatever everyone else is doing. How does Saturn decides that you need a marriage? Legal stability, at least for the next years. It doesn't mean it will be eternal, but for now you need it. Some people divorce during their second Saturn return the person they married during their first Saturn return, but it's not a rule, as each experience is different. Chapter 3. Emotional codependency. The truth hurts at first, but then it sets you free. You have reached the end of progress. You are stuck in life and don't know why. Your attachment is betraying you, and your soul has called the cosmos for a chance to move on. Now that we explored in general regards, what's the differences between Saturn return, causing a breakup or a marriage in a person's life? In this section of the book, we will explore in more detail the reason number 1 of breakups and divorces during an individual's Saturn return: emotional codependency elimination. However, emotional codependency is not something that only affects love relationships. It affects all levels of family dynamics as well, or even coworkers. It does not discriminate. Emotional codependency is a bitch. It wants you to be sick and it does not want what's best for you. Emotional codependency will make excuses on why a partner is elusive and emotionally unavailable. Emotional codependency is a bitch. She will make you forget everything the abuser did to you, just so you keep begging attention and emotional support from a person who has proven to you that they don't care about you. Emotional codependency wants you to keep begging for emotional support, because it doesn't know how to self-emotionally regulate. Emotional codependency has a preference to cling on to people who will never care as much as you care about them. Don't expect emotional support from a rock, but emotional codependency wants support from a rock. Emotional codependency will say, "He was never loved as a child, that's why he is like that, but he does love me," or "She acts tough because of the way she had to grow up, but I know she cares about me." Emotionally unavailable people. Indifference hurts and eventually kills love. Being emotionally available, it's too much to ask for some people, apparently. And sadly, that's hard to accept and process for the people who love them. Some never assimilate it and live in eternal delusion. People who are emotionally unavailable have a lot of mental issues going on. Some have been living in their minds for longer than what they have known you. These issues have outlived your relationship with this person. They were here first and they will not go away just for you. An emotionally unavailable person cannot love you, for one very simple reason: they don't love themselves. You cannot expect a person who has no self-love to love someone else. They are incapable of doing it, because they don't know how. Saying, "I love you" or "I love you" too means nothing if their actions don't match. You can only treat others the way you treat your soul. An emotionally unavailable person does not love nor treats their soul with respect, therefore, they cannot give you love nor respect. How could they? They don't have it in themselves. Emotionally unavailable people live constantly in a mental turmoil and often lie to themselves to survive reality or to get on with life. You can only give to others what you have inside of you. These people have internal turmoil, therefore will give you that. It's the only thing they can give you, because it's the only thing they have inside. Silence in a relationship. There's nothing sadder than feeling alone while in a relationship. The silence you will have from an emotionally unavailable person will be so deep, it will pierce your heart. Emotionally unavailable people have a tendency for disregarding their partner and simply stop talking to them. Some professionals in mental health call this the silent treatment among people with narcissistic personalities. It's very cruel. A person who is emotionally unavailable will one day get upset at something, since they're always in mental turmoil, and they will take it on you. Aggressive people will physically assault you, but non-aggressive people will stop talking to you, out of anger. This silence will be accompanied with non-eye contact and even disregard of your presence at all. Many people who have been in relationships with emotionally unavailable people have been put through weeks, sometimes months of their partner ignoring them or even pretending as if they are not there. No eye contact when both are in the same room, not a single word will come from their lips. Nothing. You were totally disregarded. And your soul won't be able to take it. Your immune system will sense the immense pain that this silent treatment is causing your endocrine system, and your hormones will be out of whack, and will connect to your vital force. We mentioned this before. Once your vital force, unaware to your conscious mind, signals the rest of the cosmos that you are physically and mentally out of balance because of this person, during Saturn return the universe will set things into motion to make you see this person for who they really are. However, Saturn return will bring a high dose of radical acceptance, because emotional codependency can fool your brain, but it cannot fool your immune system. When your immune system connects to your vital force, this will attract the energy of elimination to get rid of what is causing you pain, what's attacking you from your immune system's perspective. Radical acceptance will make it clear that this person does not care about you, regardless of you taking care of them. Radical acceptance will make it clear that this person is selfish and uncaring, and it will hurt like hell. It will hurt to realize that. You deserve to be heard, not to be ignored, but this person is incapable of listening to you, less caring for you. Emotional codependency wants you to be blindsided, with a blindfold over your eyes. Saturn returns radical acceptance will remove that blindfold, and you'll be able to see clearly. Unfortunately, it will hurt a lot. The truth will hurt at first, but then it will set you free. You have two options after the hurt radical acceptance will make you feel. Option 1. You ignore it and put the blindfold of emotional codependency back yourself to live again in delusion, keeping on suffering forever in secret. Option 2. You consciously taking action to stay and move away from this person for good. A person who time after time has proven to you that they don't care about you, that your interests are not their concerns. Someone who has accepted to be in a committed relationship with you will show through actions that they mean it. A person who time after time, through their actions prove to you that they simply don't care about your frustrations and sadness is a low-quality partner material. You deserve a high-quality person in your life, someone who listens and reciprocates when you care. Some people never acknowledge their emotional codependency and so they forever suffer in silence, while trying to keep up with the illusion of a great relationship, when in reality the situation is one-sided. Emotional codependency never pays off, it will forever betray you and will make you feel miserable when silence arrives. Why? Simply because emotional codependency cannot handle pain, it is not self-reliant, causes autophobia and keeps you from learning how to auto-regulate your emotions. Not only that, but it will convince you to take irrational decisions, like taking back or going back to the one person who used you and who has proven to you that they will always be first. Emotional codependency will sabotage your progress, just so it doesn't feel lonely. Emotional codependency will sabotage you from moving forward, away from the self-centered person who will never reciprocate or love you back. Emotional codependency has a little dirty trick called, let's ignore everything and pretend as if nothing ever happened. Emotional codependency will make you forget very traumatic, even humiliating events that happened between you and the other person, just so you don't go away. Love who loves you back. This emotional unavailable person does not love you, this person does not deserve you. The cosmos wants what's best for you, because you are part of it. Saturn is telling you, it's over, let go. You're not a rescuer. You cannot rescue them. They don't want to be rescued. You cannot help a broken person, you can only break yourself in the way. Trying to rescue your beloved emotionally unavailable person will only crack you from the inside out. Your self-esteem will start to deteriorate, your physical appearance will change for the worst, and you won't recognize the person you used to be in old pictures. You were that person before this individual entered your life, but not anymore. The more you try to fix and help an emotional unavailable person, especially those who have substance addictions, the more you'll destroy yourself trying to. There's no fixing an emotionally unavailable person, you will only ruin your bank account, you'll deplete your self-esteem, and you'll reach burnout followed by a breaking point. Enough is enough, says Saturn, let go. Trying to rescue a low-quality individual, as are emotional unavailable people, is not only a waste of time, energy, and money, it's unfair to your soul. You owe yourself the best life you can possibly have, and trying to fix your dream person will sabotage the progress of your soul. You will become a self-sabotager, just like your emotionally unavailable person. I told you, you cannot fix a broken person, you can only break yourself in the way. An emotional unavailable person, especially an addict, is not noticing all of your efforts to help them. As a matter of fact, you trying to help them go through addictions will make them resent you and even be annoyed more than feel like you're doing because you love them. They don't care, they do not love themselves enough to change for their own well-being, and they don't love you enough to change for you. They won't change. It is already hard enough dealing with an emotionally unavailable person, but when substance addictions are added to the mix, it gets unbearable. Their addictions are now more important than you. The sooner you understand that, the sooner you will let Saturn do its job, and together will free you from this low-quality person you have clung onto for dear life. Let go. They do not want your help, they don't see your help, they do not care about your help. Emotionally unavailable people are kind of in love with self-pity, they love to feel sorry for themselves, and they cannot enjoy their self-pity party with you. They're trying to cheer them up. In a way, you're kind of a mood killer for them. They want an enabler, and you're not one. Good. Addicts don't want fixers, they want enablers, friends and family members who will let them continue their addictive habits without being judged or told not to, the way rescuers often do. You want to help them, I get it, you just have to understand, they don't want it. By trying to be a rescuer, you become the villain. Ironic, I know. But this is the mindset of an addict and you cannot change it. When it comes to emotionally unavailable addicts, there are 3 options you can proceed with. Option 1. You become an enabler, and continue to let them indulge in their addictive habits. This comes at a high price though, because chances are that you will also become an addict soon, since you become the people with whom you surround yourself with. Option 2. You try to be a rescuer, in which you waste your life trying to stay between an addict and their beloved addiction. This comes at a high price to your mental health, since, as we have mentioned multiple times before, you cannot fix a broken person, you can only break yourself in the way. This is just wanting to be miserable, honestly. Option 3. You let Saturn do its job and get away from this person, so your emotional codependency can start to die little by little. This is very painful at first, the most painful out of all of the options, but ultimately this is the only one that comes with a reward afterwards. The suffering from freedom only Saturn can provide you after decluttering your soul from a low-quality person. A reality that hurts. The truth hurts at first, but then it sets you free. Saturn is the master of radical acceptance, and during your Saturn return, the cosmos will give your life a very high dose of it. The pink-colored glasses you put on many years ago to make this relationship work will be shattered by Saturn itself. There's no excuse anymore, you will see the situation for what it really is. Radical acceptance will torture you at first, but then it will set you free. But what if I don't want this so-called radical acceptance? What if it just hurts too much? Emotional codependency has long-term, even decade-long consequences. Emotional codependency can stagnate your progress for many years. Emotional codependency will sabotage your attempts at trying something different for your life. Emotional codependency is not your friend, it is a pest in your life. It better be kept under control, just like mosquitoes in the summer, because they always come back. A life without begging for love. A life without begging for love is a life full of opportunities for those who are not emotionally codependent. A life without begging for love is freedom to obtain your potential. The worst enemy of a good person is their emotional codependency towards their partner or even ex-partner. The person will cry and suffer in secret forever. Existential agonizing is the price of begging for love. Emotional agonizing is the price to pay because of an emotional codependency with a low-quality individual. People who refuse to let go of their emotional codependency towards a low-quality individual will always have to do more than the emotionally unavailable person. That's by default. Emotionally unavailable people are notorious for doing the bare minimum for a relationship. Even if they know they should be doing more, they don't care. They do not care. Beggars of love always get the worst types of partners since their standards are so low. Love-centered people will always make worse life choices than a non-love-centered person, just because their emotional codependency does not want what's best for them. Emotional codependency wants you to keep begging for love. Anything is better than being alone, says your emotional codependency. Beggars of love are underachievers and love their low-quality unavailable partners, who can also be underachievers, especially if they are in deep levels of substance addiction. People who have good levels of self-love and self-worth, who are not emotionally codependent to another person, make beggars of love feel uncomfortable, so usually ignore them instead of paying attention onto why some people are not begging for love. Why wouldn't they? Don't we all want love? Some people know that it's better to be alone sometimes than to lower yourself to the level of an emotionally unavailable person. They do want love, but they are not desperate. Emotional codependency makes you desperate, and desperation is a vulnerable position to find yourself at. Desperation is very expensive and very regretful. Some people have been where you are right now, but they learned that there is no love or support coming from a low-quality emotionally unavailable person. They were at one point also visited by Saturn and along with its guiding hand decided to let go. Let's learn from each other. We're a species that has evolved thanks to our skill and passion to teach other the mistakes previous generations have made, so new ones don't waste their precious time, energy, and resources on situations that are not a possibility. Experience from previous generations tell us that there is no love coming from an emotionally unavailable person. Beggars of love settle for so little and they still get nothing. A person with emotional codependency will always devalue themselves so their little caring partner gives them crumbs. Do you want this to be you? Aren't you worth more than crumbs? The cosmos thinks so, why don't you? There's nothing sadder than a person begging for emotional support. I was lucky Saturn intervened and helped me break my emotional codependency from a selfish narcissist, and for that I will forever be grateful. Saturn freed me and I won't forget. Chapter 4. Addictions. Hobbies have expiration dates. Friendships have expiration dates. There's nothing Saturn return hates more than addictions. The energy of Saturn is an expert at finding addictions in your life and going hard at them during Saturn's visit in your life. Addictions are self-imposed sickness to the body. As long as you have an addiction, your body will not be in balance. The cosmos wants you to be in balance, because you are part of it. Saturn hates excess. Addictions are excess, as simple as that. When we overconsume or overindulge in something while we ignore other areas of our lives, we will have a surplus that will either become a physical sickness, a mental sickness, or a physical hoard. Saturn says, it's hard to let go, but it's ultimately necessary. Substance dependency. The hobby of drinking. The hobby of hanging around with your buddies and getting high. These are not hobbies, these are addictions. Fake friends. When letting go of substance addiction, you will also inevitably lose the friends you used to hang around with. Later, you'll find that these people were never your friends, you were just a community of addicts enabling each other. A friendship has an expiration date. The date arrives the day a person wants to sabotage your sobriety or recovery from substance addiction, just so this person can keep having a drinking buddy. This person does not care about you, they don't respect you nor are concerned about your progress in recovery. Looking at your progress makes them feel uncomfortable, because deep inside they know they should also quit. But it's easier to make you relapse so everyone can continue to take substances together. than for them to do the hard work and let go of the addiction. Addicts are not friends, they are just enablers. The moment an old friend wants to sabotage your sobriety and recovery, the expiration date has arrived. This person has clearly proven to you that they don't care about you, they just want to continue the cycle of abuse and enabling. Be free of the substance and be free of enablers who were never your friends. True friends care about you, addicts don't. Material dependencies. Collections have expiration dates. I used to think that collections were benign hobbies that entertained and gave happiness to one's life, until Saturn told me otherwise. Saturn is not against you having hobbies, but Saturn does dislike excess. Saturn is the energy of elimination force of the cosmos. It is its nature to find excess and to eliminate it, to bring things in balance in order to prepare for the next accumulation phase of life. What's so wrong about collecting? There's nothing wrong with collecting. Collections can be very therapeutic and give a warm sensation in dark moments in our lives. Your collection was there for you at your lowest and Saturn return came to take you to your highest. While material bliss soothed you while you were in a hole you couldn't or didn't know how to get out of, Saturn return comes to take you out of that hole. So, what's the catch? The material bliss stays in the hole, it cannot come with you. That's dreadful for people who have spent so much time, money and energy on a collection. Saturn return is a gift from the cosmos. Saturn return wants to take you out of the dark hole in which you unfortunately fell, it came to take you out. While you were in the hole, you started to buy and collect all of this material distraction to soothe you from the frustration and sadness of your situation at the time. And it served its purpose. This collection soothed you and distracted you when you needed it most, but that season is over and Saturn return is telling you that it's time to get out of the hole and continue with your life. The collection that soothed you at your lowest must stay there, otherwise it will only hold you back from new opportunities that await you. This material collection was there and helped you in a very hard grieving period of your life and for that you will always cherish it, but you don't need to keep collecting, since that specific grieving process is over, thankfully. It was hard, but it's over. This collection was only meant to be in your life for that season and its expiration date has arrived. Saturn is telling you, it's over, let go. During your Saturn return, the cosmos will set things into motion so it gets harder for you to keep on buying and collecting the way you used to. Suddenly, something comes up and it's not as easy to buy new items for your collection as before. Another situation comes up, and suddenly you have to move your collection. The setup you worked so hard on has to change or you have to put the collection into storage temporarily. The cosmos is clear, it's over. Our addicted minds, who are in love with these material sedatives, will try to hold on to our collection for dear life, but Saturn return will make it harder and harder for you to enjoy the collection that used to soothe you during a previous low period before Saturn returned. Now, the cosmos is clear, that period is long gone, this collection is now holding you back, it must go if you want to upgrade your life. The issue is, many people do not want to upgrade. Many people have fallen in love with their collections, and the mere thought of having to let go of their beloved collections causes as much pain as what they were trying to soothe at the beginning with the material bliss distraction. It was always a replacement, not a solution. As bad as emotional codependency. Something has to soothe you, shopping addiction, excessive consumerism, eating overindulging in foods, wanting a man always at your side, emotional codependency. These are the most common to women. These soothing techniques unfortunately are cyclical and addictive. There's no progress or improving the issue, only accumulation. Shopping addiction will cause an accumulation of materials that will eventually erupt into unintentional hoarding, with intense denial. Maximalist is a cute way to describe an organized hoarder. All shopping addicts are secretly hoarders. The difference between organized hoarders and regular cluttered hoarders is that organized maximalist hoarders call themselves collectors. I should know. I was one for years, over 10 years of being a collector, which actually means that you are an organized hoarder shopaholic. Collecting addiction. Most people love clutter. Most people love the addiction of shopping and collecting, because it keeps one's mind entertained, but also keeps you away from harmful addictions like substance abuse or gambling. Hoarding as a hobby has to be one of the most common, socially accepted, community-supported addictions there is. And it is so hard to quit. Everyone shops, everyone loves to shop. Everyone collects something. True minimalists are quite rare, the minority of people I would dare to say. Collecting is an addiction, but it's not recognized as such. Collecting is referred to as a hobby. People with depression or anxiety are told to get a hobby, get distracted, find something to entertain one's time with. One of the easiest hobbies is shopping repetitive items, aka developing a collection of something. A tale as old as time, you get several versions of something and suddenly you have a small collection. Oh, what a joy, what a sense of accomplishment, but it's actually a trap. Being addicted to a collection or collecting obsessively will sink you with the circuit of scarcity. Worst case scenario, a collection can turn into a hoard which will make you stay in a loop within an accumulation phase, unwilling to start the correspondent elimination phase to be able to remove the excess and evolve. Collections are soothing, numbing addictions at their truest core, but not all addictions are always about numbing. Some addictions like shopping or vacationing with debt are about excitement and entertainment. They are a form of escapism from life's struggles and disappointments. As long as the escapism is temporary and left behind when it's time to move on, that would be considered a balanced solution. But when we refuse to let go of what should have been a temporary form of distraction and we want to keep the escapism, it becomes a problem. It becomes an addiction. Addictions will always make us stay stuck in an accumulation loop, unwilling to evolve into the next cycle of our progress. Accumulation loops. The shortest way to describe an accumulation loop is when the person is stuck accumulating and collecting something and at the same time refusing to eliminate nothing to balance it out. We spend months or years accumulating or collecting repetitive items just for the sake of soothing oneself. We inevitably hoard a lot while in an accumulation loop, since all of our mental energy is polarized in the accumulation phase energy. Things get out of control. We are in the berserk stage of the accumulation phase. However, instead of continuing into the correspondent elimination phase, we want to keep accumulating and the hoard worsens. The berserk stage does not goes away just because you ignore it. The berserk out of control stage aggravates as time goes on, sinking you inevitably into a circuit of scarcity. An accumulation loop is a hoarding stage in which a collection is polarizing our mental energy into an accumulating frenzy that consequently sinks us with a circuit of scarcity. An accumulation loop is being stuck in the accumulation phase, unable to exercise the elimination phase. We cannot evolve into a better, improved cycle to progress in life. Some people love their accumulation loops. That's the only reason keeping them non-suicidal. They do not want to improve, evolve, or progress in life. They just want the funds to keep the hoard growing. But some people do want out, they just don't know how. The best, most successful way to stop an accumulation loop is little by little, while getting distracted with something else. You cool down little by little. The accumulation loop is the comfort zone, is the pretty collection, our endless hours hunting for something we don't need nor have the money to spend on. Some hobbies are like pretty, warm blood-sucking leeches attached to our bodies. When you try to remove them. When the cosmos says stop, please listen. It's not a goodbye to gardening to say, it's an elimination phase, reduce and self-restraint, get things in control. It's not about restriction in the long term. It's about stop accumulating for now and focus on the ones that we love the most in the short term for an improved, enjoyable future. Stimulation addictions. Video games, adult content, traveling with debt addiction, going to events like concerts with debt, all of these hobbies are unfortunately a big focus for the energy of Saturn when visiting our life during its transit through our sign. Saturn does not discriminate. It doesn't matter what you call it, if it's making you addicted, it will ruin it for you. It is very common to stop hobbies that you did for years during a Saturn return, simply because Saturn never saw it as a hobby, but rather as the addiction it was turning into. You deserve better than to live your life in an accumulation loop, disguised as a hobby. Hobbies are benign activities when they distract you from harsh periods of your life, but when they consume most of your resources as time, money, and energy, instead of you focusing on your progress and health. You better believe that Saturn will go at it during its visit. It does not care if you love that hobby so much. Sounds harsh, but again, Saturn does not see it as a hobby. It sees it a material addiction or activity addiction. It does not matter how much you hold on to those possessions. During those months of Saturn return, Saturn will pull a move called, you won't like this anymore. I will take your joy out of doing this if I have to, and it often does. Chapter 5. Rotten Dreams. Giving up a dead dream to get unstuck. Shattered dreams are inevitable in a life where we are allowed to dream limitlessly. The other day, I read on the tag of my tea bag one of the most popular cliches of cheap motivation: the only limit in your life are the limits you set in your mind. Understand that you are truly limitless, or something like that. I have seen many versions of this along the years. One of my favorites is by a great author I used to read a lot when I was younger, Brian Tracy. The man had a saying, "There are no limits, except for the limits we set in our own minds." This simple concept is the mother of unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations are the cause number one for frustration and disappointment on this world, and it is fed to us from early childhood. We are limited, and that's okay to accept. We're only human, made of flesh and bone. We are not limitless, and that's okay. We are mortals with limitations, and that is fine, people, it is fine. During Saturn return we will be given a high dose of radical acceptance. It is truly a gift from the cosmos, but many of us won't see it as such. Saturn is the energy of the elimination force of the cosmos. The elimination phase of every cycle exists to set limits and to restore balance in the universe. Saturn return will inevitably set limits for our unrealistic expectations, simply because it is required for balance. The cosmos wants you to be in balance, because you are part of it. Saturn will come and will set things in motion for us to finally release all of the resentment, bitterness, and frustrations we have stored inside our bodies, clogging our soul from moving forward, all thanks to the wrong perception that we have no limits and that we can achieve anything we want, as long as we set our minds into it. This is not true. We do have limits. Unrealistic expectations plus no network. Life is full of unrealistic expectations and too many misconceptions about how society works or should behave. Unrealistic expectations that are sold as the norm for most people to achieve, when in reality only people with a really good network could accomplish. Society really does a disservice to most people when they are told to dream big and aim for the stars. That's extremely ambitious. Oftentimes people have very unrealistic goals. And hard work played by the rules will not give you success. There are people who work half as hard as you, don't follow the rules and still get ahead, or gets the opportunity you dreamed of. Unfair, isn't it? That's unfortunately reality. Why? Because in order to succeed with your high expectations goals during the accumulation phase, it's required more than hard work and to play by the rules. The crucial factor between those who get what they want and those who don't is network. We are told to dream big only to fall big into a depression when our unrealistic dreams inevitably don't come true. Not all dreams come true. Some dreams are set up to fail from the very beginning, especially if they started on an imaginary foundation of unrealistic expectations. So, Saturn return has come to get your mind in balance again. The elimination phase of Saturn return is where you detach and release unrealistic expectations, frustrations, bitterness, and resentment for not having experienced what you thought you would during your previous accumulation phase. In other words, all those years where you dreamt big and tried much, as we all do. That's only human. Following the rules and playing fair will not get you what you want, if your expectations were too high or simply unrealistic to begin with. The only thing you'll get by playing by the rules and fair with high expectations is frustration and resentment when things simply don't unfold, because the situation wouldn't have worked in the first place. I used to be the type of person who thought that having contacts or knowing people to get into job opportunities or get some kind of favor was unfair, that it was cheating. I realize now how blind I was to the way the world and society really work. The cosmos, the universe, the world, and your life will always revolve about network, more than hard work. Unrealistic expectations are already going to get you on a bad start to begin with, but having no network with your unrealistic expectations is going to drown you in frustration, resentment, and bitterness when the inevitable happens. Your dreams and goals do not succeed. Don't be your worst enemy. Saturn says, don't pressure your soul with something that you cannot have. Do not become obsessed with unrealistic expectations. Bitterness and resentment are the only payment for having unreachable dreams in the first place. Manage your expectations. Accept your limits. Not everyone is born with the same nuclear network nor family opportunities. However, this does not mean that you have to settle for a mediocre life, just that you have to accept that certain opportunities are not at your reach yet, in the current level of life that you have, and that's okay. Don't torture yourself lamenting your level at life, just see it instead as a starting point. Accept your limits. Not everyone is born with the same opportunities or resources, but this doesn't mean that you're destined to have a mediocre life. On the contrary, Saturn wants to free you from anger and frustration inside of you, obstructing joy from existing in you, and to radically accept the opportunities, for small as they are, in the stage of life in which you are right now. It's okay to give up on your dreams, if you replace them with new healthier ones. Your worst enemy is what you wanted to be but couldn't. The resentment of trying hard and not being able to become your dream persona. The frustration and deep depression, let them go. Release it all. There are new opportunities in future cycles, but you will never be able to experience those unless you end this cycle. This cycle where these dead dreams are rotting you from the inside out. Saturn says, it's hard to let go, but it's ultimately necessary. Let dead rotten dreams go. You will never be that person you dreamed you would be, and that's okay. Those opportunities are gone, this dream is dead and has been rotting inside you for years, spoiling your soul from the inside out. You don't deserve that. The North Node wants to give you new dreams, and with its helping hand you can have new opportunities during new North Node returns, but for that to happen Saturn has to do its job first. Let Saturn do its job. Let Saturn eliminate these rotten dreams inside of you who are making you unable to end this cycle. Let Saturn do its job, you deserve it. When everything seems to go bad, it's time to stop. There are new goals, new dreams, and new adventures after the end of Saturn return. That's the way the cosmos works, but only if you do let Saturn do its job. If you don't, you'll get stuck in a loop. Saturn's elimination phase. Saturn return is the beginning of the first big elimination phase of your life. Right after your first accumulation phase ever, you'll probably be extremely frustrated, resentful, and somewhat bitter. Especially if you were a goody-goody and always were fair and played by the rules. You're a great person, but you need to be more than a good person to get ahead in life, but that's a topic for another occasion. Now the cosmos has moved to the next phase inevitably. We are in the elimination phase of our soul, and now we have to eliminate. Eliminate what? Where to start? A lot. When we have a dream, the very nature of achieving the dream calls for sacrifice and compromise, but we don't want to compromise our soul and health. We must reach balance to survive. Saturn says, let go of the missed opportunities of the past, whether fair or not. Let go. Resignation and grief. Resignation is bittersweet, but it's part of the grieving process during Saturn return. Maturing is giving up on your dreams and settling for the opportunities presented to you by the cosmos through the flow of opportunities. Maturing is hard. Maturing is radical acceptance. Maturing is letting go of unrealistic expectations that hinder our stability and progress. Maturing requires letting go of comfortable addictions and fantasies, then enduring the void that stays when we eliminate the addiction or fantasy. It's a true grown-up mental process. Only people who have matured mentally can achieve letting go and settling. At some point, settling for a partner, a house, any possession or situation is part of maturing as an overachiever. Safe bets feel so pitiful, things underachievers do, but it's a new skill overachievers have to develop as they get older. It's the price for stability and not losing everything for the eternal enticement of getting someone or something better, overachievers are so familiar with. Overachievers have to learn to practice settling for something or someone they don't truly love as long as it's high quality, not because we are losers who can't do better, but because as time goes on, there's more to lose if what we risk doesn't pay off. There's much we can't control, and risking what we have for fantasies is not worth it. Sometimes radical acceptance feels like settling, but it's part of the great skill of managing unrealistic expectations of overachievers who want to get along with the guiding force of Saturn. Chapter 6. Post-Saturn Return. Saturn return has 3 winters. They will happen between the lapse of 30 months. Some people will have their first winter at 28, the second at 29, and the last winter at 30, because they were born early during a Saturn transit from a sign to the next. But some people will have their first winter at 29, the second at 30, and the last winter at 31, because they were born later during a Saturn transit from a sign to the next. People who were born within the same sign in Saturn can start their own personal Saturn return later than others, since they were born in different years. Saturn return is not a communal experience. Saturn return is a personal experience, although millions of people were born within the same sign in Saturn as you. By the end of Saturn returning and going through on a specific sign, some people completely ignored the energy of Saturn and made no changes in their lives. Some did change something, but continue with many of their destructive habits, and very few eliminate and consolidate as much as Saturn guided them to. Each experience is different, and that's how the universe works. Unsuccessful post-Saturn return. Lack of accountability. For people who refuse to eliminate and consolidate, nothing is ever their fault. Their lives will continue to surround and bring new chaos, but accountability for their own circumstances is something they will never experience. Underachievers have 1 or 2 unsuccessful Saturn returns. They don't eliminate nor consolidate, and hence their lives never improve. Stunted adulthood. Stunted adulthood is what happens after an unsuccessful Saturn return. You didn't receive a rebirth seed, because you refused to let go and buried your head in the sand. Unfortunately, there are consequences for ignoring the force of Saturn, the elimination force of the cosmos. The price of ignoring Saturn return is a mediocre adulthood, where the person faces challenge after challenge, unable to understand why is life treating them like that. The person is unable to start new cycles, new accumulation and elimination phases. They will feel stuck in the high of the trial cycle as the peak of their life. People will receive another push to eliminate and let go during their second North Node return at age 37 years old. If they let go, they will be given the chance to start a new accumulation cycle soon after. If they ignore all the elimination forces of the cosmos again, they won't get unstuck and won't have a new chance until they are approximately 45 years old. Midlife crisis. Now that we encompassed in general regards what usually Saturn tries to do in your life during its first return, let's move forward in life. Sometimes people think that because they already had one Saturn return in their late 20s or early 30s, that this means they won't have a second one. Or that perhaps since they went through a tough period during midlife that this then counts as a Saturn return. No, unfortunately no. A midlife crisis is a pre-second Saturn return event or events in one's life, not an early second Saturn return. Not a one-day event. Some people think incorrectly that Saturn return is something similar to their birthdays, as in a one-day event kind of situation. Wrong. Saturn return is not a one-day event. Saturn return is a 30-month period, roughly 2.5 years. Saturn return happens between the ages of 28-31, 57-60, and 86-89. Some people start early, some people start later depending on their birthday, but everyone's Saturn return lasts approximately 30 months. Tough situations in one's life can happen at any time. Rough periods of your life can be triggered by the economy, a global event like a pandemic, or maybe a midlife crisis during perimenopause or andropause. However, if you're going through a tough period of your life, but you're not between the ages of 28-31, 57-60, or 86-89, you are not in a Saturn return. It is unfortunately just a rough period of your life. There's no such thing as an early Saturn return. If the planet Saturn is not in the constellation sign that it was at the day you were born, you're not on an early Saturn return. You are simply experiencing a tough time in your life. Unfortunately for you, Saturn return will still start between the ages of 57, 58, or 59, whether you like it or not, or even if you felt as if you already had your Saturn return early. You cannot tell the universe, hey, I already had my second Saturn return early X years ago. The universe does not care when do you think is the right time to have a Saturn return. Your second Saturn return will happen between the ages of 57 to 60, when it transits to the sign it was at the time of your birth. You cannot change it, it's one of those life circumstances that are out of our control. But we shouldn't let it get us down, we must prepare for it mentally. Chapter 7. Second Saturn Return. Congratulations, you have been blessed with receiving the gift from Saturn for a second time. Many of humans who experience a first Saturn return at the same time as you are not here anymore. So, let's appreciate life, that we are still here, and prepare for what's next. Preparation is the main theme of a second Saturn return. Preparation for what is inevitable. You owe it to your true self and you owe it to your older self. During your second Saturn return, the energy of the elimination force of the cosmos will evaluate again all of the same areas as it did during your first Saturn return: relationships, marriages, emotional codependency, addictions, and rotten dreams. A person going through their second Saturn return might experience a similar situation at their first if they are also suffering from emotional codependency, material dependency, or if they are stuck with broken dreams that died many years ago. After all, it's been roughly 28 years since your first Saturn return, and much happened during those years. You were just trying to enjoy your life. But if a person experiencing a second Saturn return has matured beyond average, this person might avoid some of these sufferings borne by codependency and have an easier Saturn return. But Saturn tells us that there is always something to eliminate. The universe is composed by accumulation and elimination phases, from cycle to cycle, and our second Saturn return is an elimination phase we must go through to keep enjoying with much vitality and peace into the next phase of our great life. Collateral damage, anger towards society. Saturn says, let go of your anger towards society. Life is not always fair. Life is very complex. There are situations in which we had nothing to do with and still will feel the consequences of said situations. Here is the thing, the world is full of benign but also malign entities. Good and bad coexist and we cannot get rid of the bad. Life will be fair at times, but life will be unfair at many times also. Everybody goes through that. Some people are just better at hiding it than others. Sometimes self-centered people take decisions that will harm other people as a consequence, but don't care and still do it, leaving hundreds, sometimes thousands of people with collateral damage. These people had no saying in the decisions one selfish person made, but now all of them have to deal with one of a few people's selfish decisions. It is sadly very common. I will not go deep into unfairness, because believe me, self-pity is like quicksand. You don't realize that you are slowly sinking into a trap that will be hard to get off of. I understand, yes, life is unfair, some people just get screwed by other people, and it is 100% unfair, but unfortunately it is very common. It happens more often than not. The thing is, most people don't share their misfortunes or times when they get scammed or made a fool by others, because they fear judgment from peers or worse, shame. And I know this will not make you feel better. But, everybody on this earth suffers collateral damage, everyone. It is impossible to be born on planet Earth and not suffer some form of unfair circumstance. Some people call it bad luck, some people call it a curse, some people call it God's angry at me or something pitiful. It is true, bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. It has always been like this and it will always be like this. Radical acceptance tortures you at first, but then it sets you free. Accepting that the world can be unfair will temporarily polarize you into a depressive, feeling sorry for yourself type of mindset. It is okay, cry it out, your endocrine system needs it, but only temporarily. Don't be like those people who fall in love with self-pity and just like to indulge in daily lamenting of what could have been if so and so hadn't done this to me, or if such and such hadn't happened when I was such age. Collateral damage happens to everyone. It is part of the human experience because so many circumstances of the societies in which we are brought up and raised at, we have no control over. Saturn says, I know unfair things happened, but I will set you free. Let Saturn do its job. The cosmos is not always fair, but the cosmos gives us chances and opportunities through the North Node returns and Saturn returns to get our life in balance. If we want to experience new opportunities and possibilities for fulfillment later in life because we deserve it and want it, we have to work with the North Node, but for the North Node to help us build the life we want, we first have to let Saturn do its job. Saturn's job during your Saturn return is to make you realize that all that unfairness can either bury you in an adversity of injustice, or you can let Saturn eliminate it from your soul, so you can move on and keep trying new opportunities in your life. Ultimately the choice is yours. Saturn has returned and you have two options. Option 1. You dig a hole of self-pity and feeling sorry for yourself and throw yourself at it. Permanent self-pity at the face of adversity or sadness will only worsen situations. Self-pity is a normal response of your endocrine system to regulate your hormones, but it should only be temporary and momentaneous. If you feel sorry for yourself for too long, you will inevitably set roots in a well-known, rotting neighborhood called victimhood. Some people are in love with their self-pity and victimhood. They make it part of their personality and they love how empathic people pamper to their constant needs and misfortunes. It is a way for them to get attention and validation from empathic people, who feel for them after the unfairness they might have experienced. Option 2. Understand that you have the right to be angry, you have the right to cry, you do have to cry, but only temporarily. You will not set roots in the victimhood neighborhood, you deserve better than that. Saturn wants to take you out of the victimhood and to give you a better improved neighborhood where you can spend the rest of your life comfortably at. Let Saturn do its job. Don't fall in love with the warming but trapping comfort of self-pity. Self-pity is the HOA president of victimhood. Crying will help you release all of those feelings of unfairness and injustice you have inside of you, all of those feelings on helplessness, let it out. You do have the right to cry, but then you have to stop crying and let Saturn take it out of this horrible, depressing neighborhood. You don't belong here, you are only here temporarily because of life can be unfair at times, but the cosmos wants to bring its balance, and bring fairness back into your life. Let Saturn do its job, so life can be fair for you again, you deserve it. Let go of all of the resentment that you have built because of other people's betrayal, using you or simply going above you to give to others what was meant to be yours. It's futile. There's so much we cannot control. And obsessing over how things should have been is a waste of time. Humans are cruel. Low empathy sociopaths are in charge everywhere. We are going to suffer by at least one of them at some point. You can't escape them, but you also shouldn't destroy yourself, just because they let you down. Don't let evil, selfish people destroy your life with unfairness, you don't deserve that. You deserve to rise from this and start anew, free from all the burden from selfish people. Let Saturn do its job and it will set you free. Regret. Saturn says, forgive your younger self. Regret comes in many forms. Things we did, things we didn't do. Things we did out of empathy, things we didn't do out of selfishness. Things we didn't do out of fear, things we didn't do out of resentment. Regret is universal and unavoidable. Regret leads to wisdom if you learn the lesson and then know what not to do next time. Your younger self had very unrealistic expectations. Your younger self was very smart, very ambitious as a young adult. Unfortunately, as she came from a background without a good network or guidance, there was so much she didn't know. And as she didn't know better, she made so many mistakes. Do not judge her. Being a young adult without network guidance will always end up in unrealistic expectations that will be extremely hard, if not impossible to fulfill. Your younger self as a young adult tried her hardest. She did the best she could with the limited amount of social knowledge she had at that age. She thought she was doing the best for her. Your present self knows that unfortunately that was not enough, nor the best option. And your future self knows even more stuff you in the present still don't know about. It's all a gradual process of learning and assimilation as a self-taught adult without a network for support or guidance from previous generations. Everybody wishes they had done things differently. If they had known back then what they know now, that's only natural. However, what is done is done. You are where you are, because of the decisions made by your naive younger adult self. The present you must react in the most rational way possible to the positive, but mostly negative consequences of your younger naive self decision-making. In due time, your future self will be where she'll be, because of your present self's decisions. Imagine what she wishes she could tell you, but that's not how it works. Your future self in due time will have to take rational adaptations to the positive and negative consequences you in the present are creating for her own present, your future. In summary, you in the present will always have to rationally adapt to whatever situations your younger self created. As a self-taught adult, you must understand that many mistakes have been made and will still be made. You are who you are, that's radical acceptance. You are an overachiever without a guiding network, that's radical acceptance. Sure, other people may have from birth network guidance, but they may or may not be overachievers. Sometimes people waste very good networks and that is also radical acceptance. Let it go, don't let it ruin and rot your core. You don't deserve that. You in due time can become network guidance for future generations and that's great. You are who you are. You are a self-taught adult without network guidance, that's radical acceptance and that's great. Your younger self did great with the limited knowledge that she had at that time. Your present self is doing great with the knowledge you have right now and the adaptations that you are making. And your future self will do great with the assimilation she will have at that older age and with the many adaptations she'll be making at that time. Never be too harsh on yourself, that's futile and a waste of energy, mentally and physically. Saturn says, you're doing fine, but let's adapt. Breakups and divorces. The term silver divorce exists for a reason. Perhaps during your first Saturn return you felt as if your marriage was failing, but you decided to stay for your children or for financial reasons. This is very common. You endured a miserable relationship for decades now, but this time around is different. Saturn has returned for a second time. It evaluated your marriage again and realized that it is hurting your organic body through your nervous and endocrine system. You deserve better than that, and hence, here it is, Saturn again influencing you into ending this relationship for good. Saturn says, eliminate this from your life, you deserve better than this. This time around, your children are grown and hopefully you have now more free time to try and support yourself financially. The opportunity is now or never. The cosmos is in your favor. Saturn will aid you through this hard time, otherwise, nothing will change, because abusers never do, only pretend to change as you try to leave. Just a little warning for those of you who decide to leave an unhappy marriage, do not tell anyone. Be safe and do not announce that you are planning a separation or exit move. Stay quiet and organize your affairs to leave this damaging relationship to your best interest. The less people who know about your separation or divorce, the better it'll go for you. You do not owe anyone an explanation, not even to your soon-to-be ex-husband. We both know that you tried to communicate for years what needed to change in the relationship, so let's not keep wasting your saliva. Move in silence and be free. The cosmos is in your favor and Saturn will set the stage for you to have an easy exit. Trust the cosmos, trust Saturn. Time to embrace your true self. Your shallow self tried and did its best to conform to society's expectation of what adults should do, but your life is here and you have the right to keep dreaming as everyone else, while taking into consideration your priority number one, the health and stability of your body and mind. See through the lies and facades. You have spent 6 decades on this earth by now. Either you are paying attention or you just love lies. Saturn says, see through the lies and facades of society. Stop believing illusions and be free from societal expectations based on pure lies. Stop trying to impress fools, you're old enough now to keep playing that game. People love to pretend that they are better financially and that they have a higher social status just to impress fools. The car and the phone can lie about a person's financial situation, but the house and the shoes don't lie about the person's financial status. Many people spend all of their money resources on extras to impress other scarcity circulators. Many of these scarcity circulators have expensive cars and expensive phones, while living in squalor. I've seen it firsthand. They're all show, a facade. Their foundation possessions like their house and their shoes are low-quality possessions, because who they truly are, is scarcity circulators, since their primordial foundation gut microbiome is sick. These same scarcity circulators who always accumulate excess first, almost never invest in their shoes or underwear, their foundation clothing pieces are low quality, because that's who they are, scarcity circulators. Their houses reflect the health state of their primordial foundation gut microbiome. The uglier and dirtier the house, the uglier and sicker their gut microbiome. The car and the phone can lie and convince fools, but the house and the shoes cannot lie nor convince those who know better. Time to take care of your older self. Your mind is young and you have many dreams you still have the time to work on, however, the time to start taking care of your older self starts now. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your body. Be nice to your older self, that person is still a decade into the future away, but you do want to be that person. Only fools think they'll be young forever, while the wisest take care of their older self while still young. Prioritize your health now. Prioritize your body now. Saturn says, I know you're still young, but in order to stay young you need to pivot and start taking better life choices that impact you health. You start now, not when you feel old. Chapter 8. Third Saturn Return. The lucky few of the lucky few. Only a lucky few get to experience 3 times a return and visit from Saturn. Any person who gets to experience not 1, not 2, but 3 Saturn returns is truly a blessed person. Congratulations again, you are an exceptional human who has made it far in life, regardless of what you've accomplished. And now, the cosmos has gifted you a 3rd visit from Saturn, lucky you. Health is truly a gift. The cosmos will try to set a good foundation for your health all throughout your life, but especially during your 1st and 2nd Saturn returns. Health is something that people usually keep in the back of their minds for decades, never paying really much attention to it, until it's too late. You were not one of those people, hence why you are still here. Take a moment to congratulate yourself for being kind to your body all of these decades. While life has not been perfect and at times you let yourself go, eventually you found yourself again and learned to prioritize your health. The thing is, taking care of your health does not have an end date. It is pretty much eternal, until the very last of your days, which I'm sure those days are still far into the future. Taking care of your health is not a once-in-a-while situation. If you're this age, it is a lifestyle and you know it. Safety is truly a privilege. While you are still here almost 9 decades after you were born, thanks to your daily habits, let's not forget and be grateful for the safety that has been given to you all of this years as well. Many people who did take care of their health are not here anymore, and it is a matter of safety, which is out of one's control. While there's still much you can accomplish now, take a moment to stop lamenting yourself for your old age and remember that only the lucky ones out of the lucky ones get to experience this age, primordially thanks to safety. Safety and health brought you this far, and that is an amazing thing to acknowledge every single day. Here comes Saturn a 3rd time. Well, the thing with Saturn return, is that it never ends. Saturn keeps spinning around the sun eternally, regardless of who we are or how old we are. You can have as many Saturn returns as you are alive. And since you are still alive, congrats, you have Saturn returning to your sign for a 3rd time. Well, you already had not 1, but 2 chances at eliminating and removing all damaging situations for your life. Saturn says, there's always something to eliminate. Anger towards your body. Your body gives too much, but gets so little in return. Not even your gratitude is granted during the golden years. There's nothing sadder than a body which has taken you through almost 9 decades, going through literally everything in your life with you, and then you despising said body. Your body deserved better than your bitter ungratefulness. Saturn return has come once again in your life. You have been in this rodeo way too many times, it feels like, but this time there's not really much more to eliminate, right? Or is it? Elimination has been happening for decades, and there's not much to eliminate anymore. If you are still alive, is because you did let go of addictions during your youth. Those who never let go of their addictions live only in your memory now. So, in a way you could say that you did as much of elimination as you were supposed to do, and your age reflects that, but Saturn return tells us that there's always something to let go of, even if we're not aware of it. We are thankful to live to be older, but not happy with what happens to our bodies. I recently turned 85, however in my head I'm in my vital 40s. Where in the world did the years go? Elderly? Oh, my goodness, it seems impossible yet. When I look in my mirror, an older lady is looking back at me. Anonymous. Yesterday, while watering my garden by hand and pulling weeds, I had a sudden, terrible pain in my dominant hand and couldn't use my fingers. No accidents or injury, just happened. I feel like I'm being punished for not acting my age. I'm stubborn and don't intend to stop doing things until I'm done. Emotionally, I still don't feel or act mature. Anonymous. I'll take old any day, but elderly I am not, at age 82. I pity anyone who tries to call me geriatric. It sucks getting old, but the stupid labels have got to stop, in my honest opinion. Anonymous. It's a common feeling among people who experience a 2nd and now a 3rd Saturn return, not feeling like they're old, but their bodies are acting otherwise. They don't feel old and they want to keep feeling young. They despise the old bodies they have, while their mind still feels so young. It is really something when you realize your physical condition doesn't mirror your mental image of yourself. Anonymous. It's hard to be old when your brain still thinks like you were 30. While your body betrays you, your mind tells you something else. Anonymous. During your third Saturn return you must eliminate the despise and anger you have towards your old body. Your body is still the home of your soul, and it has been for almost 90 years. Your soul has never known another home but this, and your body deserves the respect the cosmos wants to give it, even if you don't see it that way. Appreciate your own history and honor your soul, by thanking your body for everything it did for years and decades. You owe it to yourself. Hug your own body and say, "Thank you for always having been there for me. I'll take care of you now." The right to live your dream in your senior years. You have the right to have dreams as a senior, just as everyone else. A healthy, flexible mind is one that has new interesting challenges to solve. However, you have to adapt your dreams to what your body can actually do. You owe it to it. Your body has been there for you all of your life, in your ups and your downs, through it all, and it cannot keep up with your unrealistic expectations anymore, unfortunately. During your youth, you both, your mind and your body, could take on any challenge. As unrealistic as it could have been, your body could adapt. The thing is, your mind has not accepted the fact that your body was not going to be able to keep up forever. Dream, have hopes for the future, but adapt and do some modifications to your dreams in a realistic way that your body can actually keep up with you. Don't be harsh on your body, be grateful to it every single day, you owe it to it. Daily grief. Reaching a third Saturn return is a bittersweet moment for most people. On the one hand, they are happy that they were able to make it to the long age of 87, but they are also well aware that most of the people they grew up with, their friends, their siblings, their parents, their peers, most of them are gone. Most people who reach a third Saturn return have been grieving the losses of almost everyone they knew for years, even decades. They are not strange to death. They have seen death many times already and they grieve daily. All of the memories in their minds, all of the things they experience, are what keeps them smiling. Younger people do not understand them, and most people don't care about the stories these old people have to tell, and they know it. The lucky few who experience a third Saturn return have to understand that alone doesn't mean lonely. However, they know that when it comes to people who understand and think like them, they are in low numbers. During your third Saturn return you will have to let go of the daily sorrow of not having the people you grew up with alive anymore. Easier said than done. They're not gone forever, the cosmos is eternal and you are eternal. First, let's be clear. You have the right to miss your loved ones every single day, but crying and feeling miserable because they are gone, it's not where you deserve to be. Balance in your heart is required. You will forever feel at least a little sad when remembering them, but you have to live for them and appreciate the sun coming up one more day. Enjoy this life on this earth for them. None of your loved ones who have gone before you would have wanted to think of you suffering daily because they have passed. You owe it to them. Live without suffering, you owe to yourself. Missing the energy of youth. While people experiencing their second Saturn return must prepare for their old age, they still have much energy and can be healthier than 30-year-olds. However, for those lucky few who will experience a third and probably final Saturn return, they have to prepare for the last experiences their bodies can take, but this time with less energy. People who are around 87 years of age are very variable. Some people have developed memory loss, degenerative diseases, and they are not capable of taking care of themselves. Some need assistance to take care of their bodies, and this makes people in general believe that plus 87-plus-year-old people are not self-reliable. But truth be told, many 87-plus-year-olds are quite capable of taking care of themselves, and these are the lucky few of the lucky few. Every day is a blessing. Some who will reach 87 years old and will experience a third Saturn return will have to keep their hopes as alive as they are, while also taking into consideration that energy is running low, and that is fine. Perhaps doing things slower and taking longer than usual, but as long as they are capable of doing it by themselves, it is one of the biggest achievements anyone their age can accomplish. Life is not over yet, but they know that they are truly close to the end. Some will make it to 100, some will make it to 90, and some won't. No one truly knows, but that's not the point. The point is to embrace each and every day you are able to breathe and know that you are enjoying Mother Earth. You are such a blessed person. And your knowledge is truly a treasure. As long as you have a phone or a camera, you can record yourself talking and telling those old stories from your youth. Things you always kept quiet for respect of people who are now gone. Maybe talking about how was childhood, teenagehood or parenthood in such and such decade. You would be surprised the amount of people in future generations who will treasure someone your age giving a testimony in life of what that was like. Many videographers, content creators and documentary makers much appreciate real testimonies in video format of people talking about their personal experiences growing in times that are long gone. Your stories of events are truly a treasure. Mention your friend's name in your stories, mention your siblings, friends in your recordings. As long as you refer to them, they will forever be remembered thanks to your testimony. Their name is known, because you did that for them. Upload your video testimonies to any social media, even if at first they don't receive a lot of visualizations. Believe the day will come when people will be so glad that you decided to tell your stories of times gone during your third Saturn return. What's the point of a third Saturn return then? A third Saturn return is more about consolidation than elimination. While the first Saturn return has a lot of elimination force energy, the second Saturn return is about equal elimination and consolidation. A third Saturn return has a lot of consolidation energy. Awareness of the gift of the present. At the old age of your third Saturn return, you know that life is chaotic. You know that the world will always have good and evil and there's not much we have control over. Don't be discouraged. Appreciate the calm of the now. There have been so many times in your life already when you didn't have calm for dozens of reasons, but you do now. Appreciate the calmness of the now. Can there be a fourth Saturn return? To have a fourth Saturn return, you would have to reach the supercentenarian age of 116 years old. Most humans will not reach this age, but some would. Many people have lives above 100 years old. Humans have different lifespans according to their nutrition during their youth, the area they grew up, whether they survived wars or regional attacks, etc. There are so many reasons why people, although they're good health, cannot reach the age of 116 years old to experience a fourth Saturn return. Jeanne Calment, a French woman who lived to 122 years old, is the oldest registered person who has ever lived, and that's because she had a birth certificate to confirm it. I'm sure that many people have also reached that age, but we know that birth certificates were a rarity in rural communities in the older times. Nonetheless, people like Jeanne are fortunate enough to experience 4 Saturn returns, so it does happen in very rare occasions. Someone who is 116 years old would probably experience a Saturn return similar to their third Saturn return. The world they knew doesn't exist anymore, the people they grew up with are gone and they embrace each day as a treasure. I personally have never met a 116-year-old or older, and supercentenarians are notorious for not talking or socializing much, so there are no real testimonies from people experiencing a Saturn return for the fourth time. A lot of people who believe in astrology die before they reach a fourth Saturn return, and, probably, most people who reach a fourth Saturn return don't even know what a Saturn return is. Although, I have no idea really. Most of us will not experience a fourth Saturn return, and that is fine. We are mortals, and a life well lived is not measured in how many years you lived, but in how many joyful memories you got to experience. Most people only experience 2 Saturn returns, some only 1 Saturn return, and the less lucky not even one. We all have relatives and friends who simply left too early and they didn't have the opportunity to experience the gift from Saturn, but those of us who did, must truly appreciate and treasure it. Saturn returns are not a competition. It's not about who got more than who. Saturn return is not a communal event, it's a personal experience. No one knows how many Saturn returns we will experience, but we must be grateful for having the opportunity to at least experience one, because many of our fellow humans, sisters, and brothers will not have that privilege. Health is truly a gift and safety is truly a privilege. Congratulations to those who get to experience a fourth Saturn return. I will probably never meet one, but I applaud you. May your life be filled with more health and mental clarity, my dear supercentenarian. Chapter 9. External factor complications. Exterior factors can overly complicate your Saturn return. Example: a pandemic or a sudden illness, a death in the family, or other tragedies out of our control. People who experienced their Saturn return, as Saturn in Aquarius in 2020, had a much difficult Saturn return than people who did not experience theirs during a pandemic that was out of their control. Relatives getting sick or one's own health complications are other factors that are out of one's control, that can also affect your experience during Saturn return. Having babies during Saturn return. People who have babies during their Saturn return will have the same timing as their children on their next Saturn return, which can be chaotic. A parent who had a baby during their first Saturn return will experience a second Saturn return at the same time as their now 28-year-old who will be starting their own first Saturn return, so it can be a difficult time in the family. More than 2 members in a family experiencing Saturn returns at the same time can test the most out of a family. However, as we have mentioned before, Saturn return is not a communal experience. Saturn return is a personal experience, although millions of people go through Saturn return at the same time. While members of a family can support each other through a hard but necessary time as is Saturn return, no one is responsible for a person's Saturn return but that same person. Worried parents can enable their children's bad behavior or addictions during their adult children's first Saturn return, because their tolerance for seeing their child suffer because of the consequences of their own actions is very low. Parents have to be careful to not be enablers for addictions, when their adult children will go through the pushing energy of Saturn's elimination to let go of the addictions. Do we have any control over Saturn return? Absolutely. We do have control over our experience during Saturn return, but we might not truly love the result of all of our decisions. We have the option to ignore Saturn. You can ignore it. Millions of people have and will ignore the elimination force of the cosmos through their Saturn return, but their lives will not progress and they will remain stuck in a loop they don't fully understand. People who ignore the pushes of Saturn to eliminate and consolidate tend to be underachievers in the next stage of life and constantly complain about everything in the world. Their lives cannot evolve nor improve, because in order to progress in life one must eliminate and consolidate, but their choice was otherwise. People who reject the gift from Saturn will inevitably stay imprisoned to their old addictions and suffering inside relationships that aggravate their lives. Saturn return was a gift from the cosmos to help you evolve in this lifetime into a better improved next stage of your adulthood, but many people didn't want it. Many people are in love with their addictions, and the soothing warmth of rotting addictions is better for them than the bareness of sobriety or singlehood. A lot of people miss their first Saturn return, but have more time to prepare for their second Saturn return. A 30-month storm. Saturn return will feel like a storm. A 2.5-year storm. You will have to make hard rational decisions in moments of sadness and frustration. Being rational in hard difficult times is one of the essential human skills you'll have to practice to navigate the storm of Saturn return. If you do, you'll reach a new land of peace after the storm is over, because it will be over, nothing lasts forever. The only benefit for knowing about Saturn return is to be aware and to be rational, unlike those who don't know that they are experiencing a Saturn return. Being rational allows us to react better and to take better life choices. Saturn return is very complex and difficult to endure, but with rationality the rest of your experience will get easier and your life will improve afterwards. That's the promise of Saturn return. It's the not-so-obvious gift from Saturn. Letting go of emotional impulse during Saturn return on moments of hardship and betrayal is abnormal on most people, but essential on people who succeed post-Saturn return. Chapter 10. Do not fear Saturn. Saturn return is Saturn's exaltation in your life, Saturn at full power. During the next 30 months approximately, of your life you will have strong situations that will push you towards moving away from something or someone. When you receive the visit of Saturn for the lapse of 3 winters, the cosmos will enter you into a life-changing elimination phase. Do not fear Saturn. By the time you enter a Saturn return, it's very likely that you've been in emotional pain or mental frustration recently. The cosmos knows that you have reached a breaking point regarding something in your life that has caused you frustration, mental suffering, and overall, this has made you feel quite miserable. It has become a mental burden. Saturn's nature is that of elimination, letting go, decluttering, detachment and practicality. The moment you reach a breaking point, Saturn will motivate you to let go and eliminate the trigger or cause by the roots. Saturn is so unfairly misunderstood. Saturn's energy has been tainted by mediocre astrologers and terrible occultists, but truth be told, Saturn is part of the yin-yang that is life. The Hermetic principle of polarity teaches us that life has opposites of same concepts. In this case, Saturn is the opposite of accumulation for expansion, attachment, and overflow. Saturn is elimination for reduction. This doesn't mean that Saturn is bad. Nothing within the cosmos can expand forever. Things would get quickly out of control if that was the case. That's why the cosmos constantly have cycles of first accumulation and then elimination, to keep everything under control. We cannot expand forever, accumulate forever, get attached to something forever or overflow forever. If we did, we would explode, cause damage, or get out of balance. That is bad. The cosmos doesn't like the term forever, because the cosmos is always moving and changing from accumulation to elimination phases. Nothing in the cosmos lasts forever, only temporarily. We in our lives are part of the cosmos. This is the beginning of the end for situations you thought would last forever, but the cosmos knew otherwise. Saturn's job is to eliminate, to create space, free space, to create and fill with new, more practical matters. Saturn, when understood, is so good for your soul, for your life. You will have to mourn the end of things you thought would last forever, and you will have to cry to detach, and that's okay. Do not be afraid of Saturn. Saturn, as any other cosmic force, is more complex than just this, but for the sake of time and with keeping within the topic of your Saturn's return, we'll focus on this for now. It has become such a cliché to say, from suffering comes growth, or something like that, but it is kind of truth, but only if you move on from the suffering. If you stay married to suffering, there won't be no growth nor improvement. Saturn, as a cosmic force, will trigger situations in your life during its transit through your sign, that will cause much suffering and sorrow. This is why so many people dread Saturn returns, because they dread anything that will cause them to see what they don't want to see and to remove the pink-colored glasses keeping us in a comforting, soothing lie. Although sadness and depression are part of life at all ages, this doesn't mean that they should be permanent. Remember, nothing in the cosmos lasts forever, only temporarily. During Saturn return, the cosmos will push you towards removing the triggers that are causing such sadness and depressive episodes. Easier said than done. The cosmos knows that you have been suffering a lot lately. Your soul is connected to the cosmos, and it has decided that you need to get back in balance. You have accumulated much emotional clutter and unnecessary mental baggage during your last accumulation phase, and now it's time for you to follow the cycle of the cosmos and enter the subsequent elimination phase. It's only natural. Do not fear it. It's the way the cosmos works. And at the end, it is all worth, although at the beginning it doesn't feel like it. Saturn has come to your life, not to overwhelm you, but to let you know that it's time to let go. Let go to stop the sadness, let go to stop the suffering. The cosmos recognizes that you have reached a breaking point and that this mental baggage is no longer something you should keep within you. The triggers and causations are absorbing too much of your mental energy and you are unable to move forward. Therefore, it's time to eliminate these triggers and causes. This is Saturn return, your cosmic elimination phase. Saturn in all of its glory is the cleaning crew of the cosmos. Saturn is the energy that moves you to eliminate what it is no longer needed in your being, in your mind, in your soul, which is your microcosmos. The trigger that has caused so many depressive episodes in the past is rotting inside of you, hence all the pain you've experienced. Your soul is filthy, there's something rot inside your psyche causing you much collateral pain. You don't deserve that. Saturn has come to remove it. The cosmos has sent Saturn to help you do the hard work, to clean and remove what is no longer serving you, to stop the rotting, to stop the deterioration, to stop the pain, to stop the suffering. Saturn return means that it's time to cleanse your mind and your life, so your soul has a better chance at thriving in the next cycle of your life, right after this one is done. Within the timings of the cosmos, everything happens in due time, if you sync with nature. The constant struggle you'll feel during Saturn return represents that there are mental burdens that are causing too much suffering, too much waste of mental energy, and that this is no longer a tolerable level of sadness or suffering. This is causing deep frustration and then unproductive episodes of hopelessness. Whatever it is, it has to do. The cosmos is letting you know that whatever you are attaching yourself into, it's no longer good for you. You've reached a breaking point and the cosmos knows it. Now it's the time to do the hard work to eliminate from your life this beloved trigger that you've tried to work with for years now, but it's over, it cannot happen. Due to constant trying on your part, you've developed an unhealthy attachment to this trigger and now, Since you've refused to let go the first time it caused you pain, now it's rotting inside of you. And this won't improve, it will only get worse. The sorrow and suffering you've been experiencing, they won't go away. This won't be the last time, even if you ignore it, it will come back and it will hurt more next time, because as time goes by, the rotting continues infecting other parts of your mind. Saturn's presence is a blessing in disguise. The cosmos wants to free you from this sorrow, not only to stop the suffering, but to free space for what's coming. You're about to be given a new chance at life by the cosmos itself, but these mental burdens cannot come with you, that's the catch. It's a kind of trade, you let go of all of these beloved attachments that are rotting your soul, and in exchange, the cosmos will set everything in motion for you to have a start over, a brand new chance at happiness and fulfillment in life. It's on you, whether you think it's a good trade or not, but I'll tell you this, let Saturn do its job. During moments of despair. During these moments of despair, you have unlocked an opportunity to acknowledge the triggers, accepting them for what they are and doing the extremely hard work to tolerate them and to let them go. It's not easy, but Saturn is here to give you support. Saturn challenges you to redefine what matters, dreams, expectations that you once worked hard for, but now they don't serve you anymore. As a matter of fact, they never did, they just drugged you to believe that unrealistic fantasies could ever be a reality, and that is a very hard pill to swallow. It hurts, Saturn knows. Time has passed, you've changed, those expectations didn't align with you anymore, let them go. Saturn demands a revaluation of what you are clinging into and offers you the elimination force of the cosmos to remove this frustrated dream that does nothing but to get you depressed. Easier said than done, but ultimately so necessary to do. As a matter of fact, if you impede and obstruct Saturn from doing its job, your life won't change or make that turn you've destined to. On the contrary, you'll keep repeating the same sorrow, stuck in the loop of a dead cycle. The cosmos has moved on, but you didn't. Chapter 11. My own Saturn return. Let Saturn do its job. Let Saturn do its job to get rid of everything that hurts your heart. Let Saturn do its job so you can feel finally free from everything that is stagnating your life. Let Saturn do its job so you can try again, lighter and stronger this time. I hope that by the end of this book, my words have served you at least a little in guiding you through the hard process that is Saturn return. I wrote this book mainly because I would have loved to read a book like this, when I was going through my own Saturn return. Unfortunately, all the information I could find about what a Saturn return was, had very confusing point of views depending on the astrologer that I was reading or watching. Everyone used to talk about Saturn in a certain house, or how Saturn would be tough on you during its transit through your sign. Astrologers talked very briefly about what Saturn actually did, and it was very confusing. I'll tell you a little secret, I cheated during my Saturn return. I stopped asking humans questions, and went directly through Saturn. I had to start an altar to Saturn and got into planetary magic, just so I could connect with it in a more personal level, and it worked. After the end of my Saturn return I had changed so much, I was so proud of myself, but I also knew that I could have never done it without the guidance of Saturn, pushing me through it all. Eventually, my practice evolved and present me cannot recognize the woman I've become. I've learned so much since I was going through my Saturn return. It was hard, it was emotionally tough, but the woman I became afterwards knows that it was all worth it. I had rotten dreams poisoning my soul, I used to cry hopelessly, I was bitter and angry at life, I felt frustrated and didn't know how to get out of that dark hole. I became a hoarder-collector out of desperation just to give some meaning to my life, and then, Saturn got rid of all of it. After my Saturn return, my life evolved in a way that I could have never dreamed of. I discovered a world that didn't know it was there. Mother Earth really saved my life and I have changed so much ever since. But I still remember that it all started because of the elimination force of the cosmos, through the archetype of Saturn. In my current practice, I have learned so much about our planet Earth and it is mainly where I focus my research and endeavors every day. However, I decided to make this book public, because I remembered that when I was going through my own Saturn return, there wasn't anything really out there explaining the personal areas Saturn pushed you to go through. I kept this book on my computer for almost a year untouched. Until I decided that it was time to let it into the world, perhaps if it only helps one person out of the frustration and confusion that it is Saturn return, it would all have been worth it. If this book helps others have an easier understanding of what Saturn actually does in your life during the infamous Saturn return, then all the work I've put into this would have been worth it. To you, my reader, I tell you, it gets better with time, but only if you let Saturn do its job. There's a secret world underneath astrology that I discovered with the guidance of the moon and the earth. Astrology is just the tip of the iceberg, and my practice revolves around going deeper into the unknown deeps of that iceberg. It gets lonely here. Usually it is just me, Mother Earth, the moon, and unfortunately, demons pretending to be angels. But hey, that's another topic for a different occasion. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Saturn was my first love. Thanks to Saturn, I was able to get out of the dark, miserable self-pity in which I was drowning. Saturn did that for me at my lowest, and I will never forget. I still get upset here and there when I hear a meme astrologer talk bad about Saturn, because this person clearly does not understand the energy of Saturn at all. The energy of the elimination force of the cosmos in our planet is the foundation for all progress, stability, and evolution. Life is the result of the elimination force I found out in deeper levels of that secret world that I've been immersed for the past few years. I hope you will give me one day the opportunity to share that non-visible world with you, but for you to be ready to understand my practice, I need you first to listen to Saturn and to let Saturn do its job. Saturn and the other planets of astrology live at the tip of the iceberg. Once you let Saturn do its job, you become sort of a blank canvas, and then, only then you are ready to start diving deeper into this amazing, unbelievable world that's underneath astrology. I want to share this secret non-visible world with other humans, because as I told you, it's just me here, with Mother Earth, her daughter the moon, and well, demons. Another human to talk about all of this crazy stuff underneath the iceberg would be nice. But for you to be able to understand my practice, I need you to become a blank canvas. Saturn can do that for you. Most humans cannot, but I know out there, there's at least one person who has the potential to see my secret world, the world that was shown to me by the moon. Would you join me in my practice? If this sounds too crazy even for you junkie astrologers, I understand. I also know that I sound like a lunatic sometimes, and I kind of am, since the word lunatic is rooted in luna, the Latin word for moon, so I guess, yes, as the disciple of the moon that I am, of course I am a lunatic and proud of it. But for those of you who are as crazy as me, let Saturn do its job. If you let it, with the guidance of the moon and the earth, you too can discover that hidden world that is all around us, but that only lunatics can sense. Thank you for listening to this crazy woman share her thoughts on the whole Saturn return. May your life be filled with blessings and upcoming improvements. You deserve it. This was the end of a cycle and the start of a new one. Sincerely, Hortensia. Let Saturn do its job. When Saturn return visits your life. By Hortensia Calma.